Hey guys, Mustang here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so the details for physical Cooler EZA were revealed earlier on today, and I didn't record straight away. They came, obviously these sort of details always come out super early for me in the morning, but I've kind of been waiting and having a look at some of the community feedback, and honestly, after seeing his EZA, generally the feedback is pretty much in line with what I would say about this Cooler. Some people obviously immediately jumping the gun and calling him bad. So we're going to go into the details for him and go over my opinions in this video. So physical Cooler, obviously the physical 120 lead, second to last one to go, the final extreme one. We're only waiting on Tech, Super Saiyan 3, Angel Goku now, and all the 120 leaders will have their EZAs. So, pre-EZA, does immense damage to the enemy, greatly lowers defense, and then his passive was attack and defense 100%, launches an additional attack which has a chance to become a super, which is 10%. So, it's a guaranteed additional, but only has a 10% chance to become a super attack. So, obviously, very often that's just going to be an additional normal, but then with the way these units work, just by having a guaranteed additional attack, it does make it a little bit more likely that the additionals from his hidden potential system are going to proc. So this guy always works quite nicely with a good balance of additional and crit, because you want him to crit on his attacks, but with a decent amount of additional in the hidden potential system, he can super attack 3 times in one turn. So even now, at his current state, if you threw him onto like the transformation boost team with STR Cooler and you ran them together, because they have basically the same link set, they would be very, very strong, especially with level 10 links and how good Big Bad Bosses is. This Cooler was still actually pretty good, still hitting reasonable attack stats depending on the rotation you have with different supports, anywhere between like 2 and 3 million, maybe even slightly higher with cheese like Toa's heal and 50% buff passive, all that kind of stuff. And that was on one super, which of course he could do multiple of. So they needed to be careful with his EZA, because one thing that we've been saying as a community for the longest time is once he got his EZA, even just making him level 140 and having EZA stats, he was going to be crazy good, because at Rainbow full EZA, this is his stats. So he has almost 20,000 attack, which is pretty high for a TUR, over 20,000 HP and 11,000 defense, which is not bad. So his EZA, for those of you who haven't seen it, he still does immense damage. He now massively lowers defense, which is not really a huge advantage. But he gets attack and defense 120%, so 20% extra on his base passive. He still launches the additional attack, but now has a medium chance of becoming a super, so it's 30% instead of 10. And then he gets an additional attack and defense 8% with each attack performed up to 80%. So he is really, really good. He's going to be incredibly powerful. You got to remember, compared to his original starting point of attack and defense 100%, he's got an extra 20% on top of that. He's got the EZA stats for being level 140. And then, of course, literally with the first attack, he's getting the first proc of his passive. So it's actually 128% on his first attack. So all of his stats have not only gone up anyway, just from the basis of him being EZA'd, but then he's getting an extra 28% buff on top of that compared to what he was pre-EZA. And yeah, he has a slightly higher chance to do the additional super, so I do still think a good mix of additionals and crits is the best for him. So turn 1, he's going to be hitting a pretty decent number, maybe not the craziest, but the thing about his passive is it builds up to 80%, so you need to attack 10 times. Now obviously if you get God level RNG and you're getting triple attacks every turn, you're going to reach that a lot faster. I do like the fact it is with each attack performed instead of a super, so obviously that guaranteed additional attack that he gets every turn, regardless of whether that's a normal attack or a super attack, that's going to buff him up. So you're going to get those 2 attacks in the first turn. So going into the third turn, the second turn he's on rotation, which would be turn 3 if he was on turn 1. He's already going to be at 148% when he's launching that first attack of that turn. And that's if you didn't get like any bonus additionals from his hidden potential system. So he's going to be very good. And the 8% is also to defense as well. Because one of the good things about the combination of him with the STR Cooler is going to be, in long form events, STR Cooler goes absolutely crazy, infinitely stacking his attack, getting guaranteed crits against specific enemies, but his defense isn't necessarily the best when you get towards the end of the event and the enemy's starting to hit a lot harder. Whereas this Cooler, with his passive maxed out, having 200% defense, he's going to be very, very good defensively. So you can put him in front of the majority of the attacks and then let SDR Cooler go off in the other slot. So he is very good. He's going to be very powerful. Definitely don't get it twisted, but the general complaint that I've seen, and I would kind of agree, of course, is that his EZA is just a little bit boring. Because all they really did, so they upped the chance to additional super, which is really good. They upped his stats a little bit, which was to be expected. So the only real, like, new addition to his kit is the attack and defense 8% with each attack performed up to 80%. Now that is good. It builds up to some crazy big numbers, but it's nothing like super crazy. Now after the Super Saiyan 4 EZAs that we saw fairly recently, I mean, we've seen firsthand that units getting a quote-unquote boring EZA, they can still turn out to be incredibly good, because they gave them a little bit of attack or defense raise on super attack, and then their passive, they did literally just bump up the numbers and then give them a little bit of extra attack when performing a super. So they didn't do anything too crazy with these guys, and obviously they are insanely powerful. Like, they're already, I mean, I say in the discussion, I think the discussion is pretty much settled now. They're at the same, like, dupe level. Like, if you want to just say Rainbow level 10 links, they are better than the Dokkan Fest LRs, which is pretty crazy. And obviously for Cooler, he doesn't really have any same name competition. I know the same name update exists on JP already, and it should be on Global by the time he comes out. But even so, with the fact that the same name units don't link, you still do need to think a little bit about your team building. But this guy has no competition. There's like the Tech Final Form Cooler, who, I mean, he was okay back when he first awakened years ago, but he desperately needs an EZA to even be remotely relevant. So you don't need to worry about that. The only thing I would agree is a little bit disappointing with these, like, boring EZAs, is it would be nice for them to get something a little bit more exciting. So if we look at Int Gogeta, when he first came out, obviously he was a beast, absolute powerhouse. He definitely needed his EZA because he came out in the meta where defense wasn't really super important, so he just had no defense in his passive whatsoever. So with his EZA, not only did they give him a very solid amount of defense, but then they gave him this Rainbow Orb passive where it was, you could get a bunch of different abilities based on how many orbs you got. So as long as you can get the one orb, he has the chance to dodge, which is super useful in things like Super Battle Road. And then if you get 2 orbs, he gets 40% attack buff, and then if you get 3 or more, he gets a high chance of performing a crit. So it's just a nice little additional thing. It's kind of interesting. I'm not saying it's like the most creative thing in the world, but it's a cool little extra bonus thing you can go for. Because with this Int Gogeta, if you scrub that Rainbow Orb passive off of his kit, he's still good because he's attack and defense 120%, same as Cooler will be, and attacks effective against all types, so he hits ridiculously hard. They did also give him raises defense for 1 turn on super attack, which I think is the big thing that stands out about Cooler, is they didn't give him any sort of special super attack ability. They increased the defense lowering to massively lowers defense, but lowering defense is not super relevant in most events in the game, so it's not really that good of an ability. Now, I realise, of course, it would have been super good if they gave him something like raises defense or attack for 1 turn, greatly raises, infinite stack, that kind of thing. But because he's a unit that's built around performing multiple additionals, they obviously had to be careful how they balanced that. Like, if they gave him some sort of raises, attack or defense on super, because he's a unit that in his best case scenario is designed to super attack 3 times, they probably would have nerfed his passive a little bit. So if he had, like, raises attack and defense for 1 turn on super, they probably would have cut this part out completely. So, although I say that, of course, we always see Dokkan make these weird choices when it comes to balancing, because they'll release crazy broken units that are by far easily the best unit in the game, and then in other areas they'll show restraint for some reason. Because this Cooler getting an insanely busted, like, you know, easily, clearly the best EZA in the game level EZA, would certainly not in any way break the game, but I do think it would have been nice for him to have something a little bit more interesting. I brought up the Gotenks one as well, because Gotenks used to have a debuff for the first 7 turns, and with his EZA, which is coming to Global very soon, not only did they remove the debuff, they made it plus defense for 7 turns, they also gave him a built-in chance to dodge for those 7 turns. So now not only is he a very, very powerful unit, he's also really, really good in short-term events because he has an extra boost to his stats and has a chance to dodge. Now obviously in a long-form event that wears off and then his passive just literally is attack and defense 150, But something like that is interesting because it gives him like a clear event that he's really, really good in. Whereas this Cooler, with his EZA passive, he just essentially is like a jack of all trades. Like, he's going to be good in all events. He's just going to be like that really solid, like good, sort of, I would still say top tier level of unit. But no, he doesn't have like a thing that makes him particularly shine in one specific event. Obviously, like I said, in the longer form events, it's going to be easier to fully max out his passive. So he's going to be having, yeah, I mean, he's going to be rocking 200% attack and defense. Rainbow level 10 links, like Big Bad Boss is active. The numbers that he's going to put out are going to be absolutely ridiculous. Especially linked up alongside STR Cooler, and you throw like a support unit into the third slot. You get one of them turns where he gets you the triple super attacks. And yeah, he's going to be absolutely crushing everybody. So really the primary concern, I guess, the negative, if you want to put it that way, about his EZA is just that it's quote-unquote boring. But just like the Super Saiyan 4s, their EZAs were kind of boring, I guess, but they are insanely powerful. Like, you probably want to run them on almost any team you can now. Like, the GT Heroes team is ridiculously busted. So yeah, whilst it might be slightly boring, Physical Cooler's EZA is going to be very, very powerful. I can't wait to see the actual numbers that he is hitting when that passive is fully maxed out. So let me know what you guys think down below. We've got the final one to go, Tech Angel Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Do you think they're going to do something interesting along the lines with him? Because remember, he does already have a fairly interesting passive already. Should have opened up his page previously, but let's bring him up here. Because he does have the attack plus 20% per rainbow key sphere obtained. So obviously they're going to give him defense. He has a rare chance to stun. It'd be nice if that goes up. But yeah, even if they don't touch his super attack effect, as they haven't done with Cooler, the door is wide open for them to do something interesting with this, like they did with Gogeta. Give him still an attack buff, even if it doesn't increase more than 20%, but they could go down that Gogeta sort of route where the more rainbow orbs you get, maybe he does some additional abilities. I think that could be very interesting. So let me know that down below as well. Do you think Goku is going to get a fairly standard, boring EZA, or are they going to do something a little bit more fancy for him as he is the final one? So let me know all your thoughts down below, both on the future of this Goku and, of course, the Cooler. I do think he's insanely good, just a little bit on the boring side. But, I mean, anyone saying that his EZA is bad is just straight up wrong. And if you think that for some reason, give your reasons down below, and I guess we could discuss it. But there you go. That is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.